painful day for students and staff at a Polk County middle school after the tragic loss of their assistant principal and math teacher.
ABC Action News reporter Ryan Raish spent the day at that school to see how students and staff are coping with the stunning loss.
Tonight, students in prayer at Lake Gibson Middle School, honoring two familiar faces, assistant principal Samara Rotenberg and sixth grade math teacher Lisa Fulleret.
She was always one of the greatest teachers out there.
The neighborhood of Hickory Creek Drive in Brandon, Florida was not the kind of place where people expected violence. It was a community where families built their lives and where teachers shaped the future of children. But on the morning of February 24, 2017, that peace was shattered. 3 people were found dead inside a suburban home, a gruesome discovery that sent shockwaves through the town. Lisa Fulleret and Samara Rotenberg were respected educators, known for their dedication to their students. They had built a life together, seeking happiness after difficult pasts. But that happiness was short-lived. Someone had been watching, waiting, planning. And when the moment came, they struck with terrifying precision. What happened that morning? How did a seemingly normal life unravel into a violent tragedy? As investigators combed through the evidence, they uncovered a story of love, obsession, and deadly jealousy. Security cameras captured the moment an intruder entered the home. A desperate struggle for survival followed. But who fired first? Could Lisa and Samara have escaped? What drove a man to such a horrifying act? And most chillingly, was this murder-suicide inevitable, or could it have been prevented? The truth lies within the evidence, the testimonies, and the haunting remnants of that morning. Let's dive deep into this case and uncover what really happened on that fateful day. Welcome to the Crime Series. I am glad to have you join us on another video. Kindly subscribe, like, and share. Let me know where you are watching from. Lisa Dawn Nall, in this case also known as Lisa Fulleret, was born on September 3, 1965, in Hialeah, Florida, a city known for its diverse community and deep-rooted cultural history. Raised in a middle-class household, Lisa was an intelligent and determined child who exhibited a strong passion for learning from an early age. Her parents, Cynthia Haler and Johnny Nall, encouraged her academic pursuits, instilling in her the values of hard work, dedication, and compassion. Lisa attended Hialeah High School, where she excelled in her studies, particularly in mathematics. She was known among her peers for her analytical thinking and problem-solving skills, which set the foundation for her future career as an educator. Apart from academics, Lisa participated in various school activities, demonstrating leadership and a strong sense of responsibility. Following her graduation from high school, Lisa pursued higher education at Florida Southern College in Lakeland, Florida. There, she earned a bachelor's degree in education, solidifying her commitment to teaching and shaping young minds. Her time at Florida Southern College was marked by perseverance and enthusiasm, as she took great interest in methods of instruction that would later make her an outstanding educator. During the early 1990s, Lisa met Vincente Vince Fulleret. Their relationship blossomed quickly, leading to marriage. The couple settled into their life together and soon welcomed 2 children, Michael and Amanda. Lisa was a devoted mother, balancing her professional responsibilities with her role at home. She was deeply involved in her children's upbringing, ensuring they received a nurturing and supportive environment. Professionally, Lisa dedicated her career to teaching mathematics, ultimately becoming a 6th grade math teacher at Lake Gibson Middle School in Lakeland, Florida. Her passion for teaching extended beyond the classroom, as she sought innovative ways to engage her students in learning. Colleagues admired her dedication, and students found her approachable and inspiring. She had a unique ability to make complex mathematical concepts easier to understand, often going the extra mile to provide individualized support for struggling learners. Lisa's teaching style emphasized patience and encouragement. She believed that every student had the potential to succeed, and she worked tirelessly to foster a classroom atmosphere where students felt confident in their abilities. Her unwavering commitment to education earned her the respect of both her peers and students, making her a valued member of the school community. Among her colleagues is Samara L. Rotenberg, who she later formed a very strong bond with. Lisa's husband, Vincente Vince P. Fulleret, was born on November 3, 1963, in Florida. Little is documented about his childhood, but it is known that he grew up in a working-class environment. His father, Vicente Fullerete Sr., played a role in shaping his early years, though there is limited information regarding his mother or any siblings. Raised in Florida, Vince developed an early interest in technology and security systems, which would later influence his professional career. During his youth, Vince was described by those who knew him as quiet and reserved. He was not particularly outgoing but demonstrated a strong sense of determination in his academic and professional pursuits. He was fascinated by electronics and mechanics, skills that eventually led him to a career as an electronic security consultant. His expertise in security technology provided him with stable employment and a sense of purpose. Initially, Vince's marriage to Lisa appeared stable, with Vince providing financial support through his work in the security industry, while Lisa pursued her passion for teaching. However, as the years passed, cracks began to show in their relationship. Vince was known to be highly controlling in his personal life, a trait that became more apparent as his marriage to Lisa progressed. While he was skilled in securing buildings and protecting physical assets, he struggled to navigate the complexities of human relationships. Friends and colleagues observed that he could be rigid and inflexible in his thinking, often unwilling to compromise or accept change. This mindset extended to his relationship with Lisa, where he exhibited possessive tendencies and found it difficult to handle conflicts in a healthy manner. By 2014, the strain in their marriage had reached a breaking point. Lisa, desiring a change, separated from Vince and moved out of their shared home to Samara's house, a colleague who she had a close bond with. Samara L. Rutenberg was born on December 27, 1977, in Harvey, Illinois, a suburban community south of Chicago. She was raised in a supportive and academically driven household, where education was highly valued. Throughout her school years, Samara was known for her dedication to academics and her involvement in extracurricular activities. After graduating high school with honors, Samara pursued higher education with determination. She enrolled at Nova Southeastern University in Florida, where she continued to demonstrate excellence in her studies. In 2010, she graduated magna cum laude with a master's degree in education, a significant milestone that solidified her commitment to teaching and administration. Samara's career in education began in 2001 when she took on the role of a math teacher. She quickly became known for her engaging teaching methods and her ability to connect with students. With her experience and growing reputation, Samara was offered a position at Lake Gibson Middle School in Lakeland, Florida. She initially joined as a math teacher but quickly advanced due to her exceptional performance and leadership abilities. She was soon promoted to assistant principal and testing coordinator, where she played a critical role in school administration. As assistant principal, Samara was deeply involved in student development and faculty support. She was known for her open-door policy, always available to offer guidance and assistance to students, teachers, and parents. As Lisa settled into Samara's home, their friendship evolved into a romantic relationship. This transition was both exciting and challenging. Although they found comfort and happiness in each other's presence, their relationship was not openly acknowledged at first. The primary reason for this discretion was their professional dynamic. Samara was Lisa's superior at Lake Gibson Middle School, which created potential ethical and workplace concerns. Additionally, Lisa was still in the process of legally divorcing Vince, and she feared that revealing her new relationship too soon might escalate the already growing tensions with him. In October 2015, Lisa took the formal step of filing for divorce in Polk County, Florida. The legal proceedings, which should have been straightforward, became drawn out due to Vince's unwillingness to cooperate. He refused to sign the necessary documents, delaying the process significantly. His resistance to the divorce was not merely procedural, it was deeply personal. He viewed Lisa's relationship with Samara as a betrayal and was unwilling to accept the finality of their marriage. This prolonged battle over the divorce created an ongoing source of tension between Lisa and Vince. While Lisa was eager to move on, Vince remained fixated on their past. His refusal to let go was not just a legal obstacle but an emotional one as well. As a result, Lisa and Samara became increasingly cautious. They understood that Vince's inability to move on posed a serious risk, and they took measures to protect themselves. They purchased firearms and began practicing at shooting ranges, hoping to be prepared should they ever need to defend themselves. Their home, once a place of safety and love, became a space where they had to remain constantly vigilant. Despite the external pressures, Lisa and Samara remained committed to each other. Their relationship, though brief, was marked by love, support, and a shared vision of a future together. They hoped for the day when the divorce would be finalized, and they could live openly without fear.
As we go into the most intense part of this video, kindly like and subscribe to this channel. It gives me motivation to create more videos. If you love this video and wish to see more, kindly subscribe.
On the evening of October 2nd, 2015, an alarming confrontation unfolded at the home of Samara Rautenberg in Brandon, Florida. Vincent Vince Fouillerat, the estranged husband of Lisa Fouillerat, made an unauthorized entry into Samara's residence through the garage door. The relationship between Lisa and Samara had become a significant point of contention for Vince, who refused to accept his wife's separation from him. His resentment had been escalating, and on this particular night, it took a violent turn. According to security footage and witness statements, Samara was alone in the house when she noticed an unusual sound coming from the garage. Upon investigating, she discovered Vince inside her home. Samara immediately confronted him, demanding that he leave the premises. She made it clear that he was not welcome and had no reason to be there. Initially, Vince complied, walking away without any physical altercation. However, his departure was brief. Within minutes he returned, this time armed with an unidentified blunt object. Before Samara could react, Vince launched a brutal attack. He struck her multiple times in the face, causing immediate injuries. As she struggled to defend herself, Vince continued his assault, eventually grabbing her and forcefully slamming her head onto the pavement outside the house. The force of the impact left Samara dazed, bloodied, and in immense pain. The assault only ended when a neighbor, hearing the commotion, came outside to investigate. Vince, realizing that his actions had been noticed, fled the scene before authorities could arrive. The neighbor quickly called 911, and emergency responders arrived within minutes. Samara was transported to a nearby hospital where she received medical treatment for her injuries, including facial fractures, severe bruising, and a concussion. Law enforcement officials launched an immediate investigation. Given the severity of the attack and Vince's forced entry into the home, he was arrested and charged with aggravated battery and burglary. Despite the violent nature of the incident, Vince had no prior criminal record in Florida, which played a role in the court's sentencing decision. Instead of serving jail time, Vince was sentenced to 36 months of probation. Recognizing the ongoing threat posed by Vince, Samara took legal action 3 days after the attack. She filed for a restraining order, which was granted by the court. The order legally barred Vince from coming near Samara or attempting to contact her in any way. However, despite these legal measures, Vince's hostility did not subside. The attack marked a significant escalation in his behavior, foreshadowing the tragic events that would unfold in the following years. Despite the restraining order against him and the legal consequences of his violent assault on Samara Rautenberg, Vincente Fouillerat's hostility toward his estranged wife, Lisa Fouillerat, and her partner Samara did not subside. In fact, his behavior became increasingly erratic and threatening. He continued to resist the divorce proceedings, making it clear through his actions that he was unwilling to accept the dissolution of his marriage. Lisa and Samara, well aware of the danger Vince posed, took precautions. Both women obtained concealed carry permits and purchased 2 pistols for self-defense. Understanding that a restraining order alone would not be enough to protect them, they began practicing regularly at local shooting ranges to ensure they could handle a firearm if necessary. The decision to arm themselves was not taken lightly. Lisa, a mother of 2, and Samara, a dedicated educator, never imagined they would have to consider using lethal force to protect themselves from someone they once knew. However, the fear of Vince's unpredictable behavior left them with little choice. Vince, meanwhile, was not deterred by the legal measures taken against him. He began engaging in increasingly concerning activities. There were reported instances of him stalking Lisa and Samara, either by driving past their home in Brandon, Florida, or lingering near places they frequently visited. Friends and colleagues noted that Lisa had become visibly anxious in the months leading up to the tragedy, often looking over her shoulder or avoiding certain areas out of fear that Vince would show up unannounced. Additionally, Vince's behavior online also raised red flags. He reportedly searched for ways to bypass home security systems and researched the effectiveness of bulletproof vests. Investigators later discovered evidence that he had purchased a tactical vest, confirming that his actions were premeditated. The divorce proceedings, which had dragged on for more than a year and a half due to Vince's refusal to comply, were only fueling his anger. He openly expressed to friends and acquaintances that he felt betrayed by Lisa and harbored resentment toward Samara for what he perceived as the destruction of his family. Lisa and Samara took additional precautions beyond purchasing firearms. They reinforced the security measures at their home, installing surveillance cameras and updating their alarm system. They also changed their routines in an effort to avoid predictable patterns that Vince could exploit. However, despite their best efforts, they remained deeply concerned that Vince's anger would ultimately lead to violence. As tensions escalated, Lisa and Samara hoped that once the divorce was finalized, Vince would finally move on. February 24, 2017 began as any other morning in Brandon, Florida. Lisa Folleret and Samara Rutenberg were inside their home on Hickory Creek Drive, preparing for the day. However, unknown to them, Vincente Folleret was on his way to their residence, armed and prepared for a deadly confrontation. At approximately 6:30 a.m., Vince arrived at the house wearing a bulletproof vest and carrying a shotgun. He bypassed the front door and instead forced entry through a less conspicuous access point, avoiding detection for as long as possible. The home security cameras captured his methodical approach and forced entry, triggering the house alarm system almost immediately. The blaring alarm echoed through the residence. Realizing the imminent danger, Lisa and Samara quickly armed themselves with the pistols they had acquired for self-defense. Having practiced at shooting ranges in preparation for potential threats, they attempted to take defensive positions within the home. A chaotic and intense gunfight erupted inside the residence. Vince, though outnumbered in terms of firearms, had the advantage of body armor and a powerful shotgun, giving him the upper hand in the exchange of fire. The women fought back valiantly. Both managed to land gunshots on Vince, wounding him in multiple places. However, the injuries were not immediately incapacitating. The confined space of the house, combined with the unpredictability of the gunfight, made it difficult for Lisa and Samara to maintain an effective defensive position. Vince advanced through the home with relentless determination, and despite their efforts, the women were ultimately overpowered and fatally shot. With Lisa and Samara dead, Vince took a moment inside the house before composing a suicide note. The exact contents of the note remain undisclosed to the public, but it is widely believed that he expressed feelings of betrayal, jealousy, and resentment. He then pinned the note to his vest, positioned himself, and fired a fatal shot, ending his own life. On the morning of February 24, 2017, Lisa Folleret and Vincente Folleret were due to appear in court for a long-awaited divorce proceeding. However, when Lisa failed to show up, her attorney grew concerned. Given the history of domestic disputes and Vince's previous violent behavior, her attorney took swift action, requesting a welfare check at Lisa and Samara's home on Hickory Creek Drive in Brandon, Florida. Hillsborough County Sheriff's deputies responded to the call later that day. Upon arrival, they noted that the house appeared undisturbed from the outside, but their repeated knocks on the door went unanswered. Concerned for the occupants, law enforcement made the decision to enter the residence. What they discovered inside was a horrific crime scene that painted a tragic picture of the events that had unfolded just hours before. Inside the home, officers found the bodies of Lisa Folleret and Samara Rutenberg in different areas of the house. Both women had suffered fatal gunshot wounds. Lisa, who had desperately tried to defend herself, was found near a firearm. Samara's body was discovered nearby, indicating that she had also fought back against the intruder. However, despite their efforts, both women had been overpowered by Vince, who had entered the home wearing a bulletproof vest and carrying a shotgun. In another area of the house, law enforcement found the body of Vincente Fouillerat. He had suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Nearby, pinned to his bulletproof vest, was a handwritten suicide note. The contents of the letter were never publicly disclosed in full, but according to police, it revealed his motives for the attack. Vince expressed deep resentment and jealousy over Lisa's new relationship with Samara. He saw their bond as a personal betrayal and admitted feeling powerless in the face of their closeness. The note reportedly contained statements that indicated his emotional turmoil and inability to accept that Lisa had moved on without him. The autopsy reports later corroborated that both Lisa and Samara had wounded Vince during the confrontation before ultimately succumbing to their injuries. The discovery of the bodies, along with the suicide note, provided the final confirmation of what had transpired that morning. A premeditated act of violence, driven by possessiveness, jealousy, and a refusal to let go. The case was closed as a double homicide followed by suicide, leaving the families, school community, and local residents in shock and mourning. The tragic deaths of Lisa Fouillerat and Samara Rautenberg sent shockwaves through the Lake Gibson Middle School community, where both women had devoted their lives to educating and inspiring students. Their sudden and violent passing left an immense void, deeply affecting students, teachers, and parents alike. In the days following the tragedy, the school faced an overwhelming sense of grief. Students struggled to process the loss of two figures who had been integral to their daily lives. Teachers, too, found it difficult to resume normalcy in their classrooms, knowing that two of their own were no longer among them. In response, the Polk County School District arranged for grief counselors to be available at the school to support students, faculty, and parents coping with the tragedy. Many students wrote letters expressing their sadness, while others created a memorial board filled with messages, photographs, and drawings in memory of Lisa and Samara. The administration organized a vigil on the school grounds, where colleagues, students, and community members gathered to share memories and light candles in honor of the two women. The tragic case of Lisa Fouillerat, Samara Rautenberg, and Vincente Fouillerat is a reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked emotional turmoil, jealousy, and domestic violence. Despite legal interventions such as restraining orders, probation sentences, and ongoing divorce proceedings, the situation escalated to a lethal conclusion. This case highlights the limitations of existing protective measures and the urgent need for more effective strategies to prevent domestic violence-related tragedies. One of the most significant lessons from this case is the importance of recognizing warning signs of escalating domestic violence. Vincente Fouillerat displayed clear patterns of aggression, including an earlier assault on Samara Rautenberg in 2015, for which he was arrested and sentenced to probation. Despite these red flags, he was not incarcerated, and his ability to continue harassing and ultimately murdering Lisa and Samara demonstrates the gaps in the legal system's ability to protect victims. Restraining orders, while necessary, are often insufficient in preventing violent attacks. In many cases, these legal measures do not deter perpetrators who are determined to cause harm. Another crucial lesson is the need for more accessible support systems for victims of domestic abuse. Lisa and Samara took proactive steps to protect themselves, including obtaining firearms for self-defense. However, this was not enough to prevent their deaths. In my opinion, I think a comprehensive support network, including counseling, relocation services, could provide victims with more options and resources to escape dangerous situations safely.